Hi everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another video. This video is actually in response to a comment that I got where someone asked me to get into more detail about the side gigs and side jobs that I have engaged in during my time as an MD-PhD student. So I just wanted to kind of list them out here in this video. A couple things before I get into it. So first of all, I'm an MD-PhD student, so I think it's important to keep in mind that my program is obviously different from a traditional MD-only program in a number of ways. One, which is that through this program, my tuition and everything is paid for. So thankfully, I don't have any student loans or anything like that. So MD-PhD programs will also give out a stipend for the duration of the program. It's around $29,000 to $37,000. More specifically, my situation, so during the time I'm in medical school, it's around $29,000, plus the time in grad school, it's around $37,000. So obviously, this is my primary source of income, and everything else that I'm doing is to supplement that income. I'm sure some of you are wondering, why even engage in these side hustles if I am fortunate enough to get a stipend and not have to pay for medical school tuition? My first year of medical school, I didn't do anything but focus on school, 100% focused. And then it was really my second year of medical school where I started engaging some of these side hustles. There was a couple reasons for that. One was obviously to support myself, support my wife, make sure we still have some leftover money to do fun things like travel. I also wanted to start this video series called Myoglobin, which you could follow here. If you click on the link below, definitely appreciate the subscribe. Anyway, so I wanted to do that, and obviously I needed to get money to travel. I live in Maryland. Maryland, the cost of living is high, so a lot of it does go to rent. I'm also married. My wife was a PA student. She's now working as a PA. So one of the goals, I would say initially, was while she was applying for PA school or while she was in PA school, the goals at that point were to supplement our income so that we could afford other things, that we wouldn't have to worry about taking out loans or borrowing money from people to support ourselves, and then also to help fund other things that we wanted to do, like travel. So that was a big goal during the early years. And now obviously the financial situation is different, but it's shifted a little bit, and one of the goals now is to help her pay off her loans ASAP. So every dollar that I make is another dollar that she can save up or use, that we can use towards paying off her loans. All right, so with all that stuff out of the way, let's get into the side gigs that I've done in medical school. Number one, this is the first one that I did. This was working for a company called APass Education, or APass Educational Services. Essentially, this is a company that I worked with as a contractor to help create educational content. One of the things that I did was I created video responses on Checkma.com. So these were video responses for textbook questions, and I was creating these videos that walked people through the problems on a digital whiteboard essentially, and step them through the problem and how to solve it. That was pretty good. It was about $50 an hour. Other stuff that I did while working for them was create test questions for like high school students. I wrote some textbook chapters, very basic stuff. For example, I put together something for a digital textbook on computer literacy for middle schoolers. I mean, overall, it was pretty laid back, and I was able to use some of the knowledge that I had to create this content. All right, number two. This is probably something that a lot of people can do if they're in medical school. It should be pretty available, which is signing up for a research study. During my time as an MD-PhD student, I've actually been involved in 3 research studies. It might sound a little crazy, but I've signed up for 3 studies. One was for a malaria vaccine, one was for cholera vaccine, and the third one was for an HIV vaccine, and I had a great time with all of them. I actually contracted malaria as a second year medical student. I signed up for a study where they were trying to develop a vaccine for malaria, and I was one of the control subjects. I went to this trial. They put 5 mosquitoes on me in a cup, and I saw them on my skin and sucking my blood, giving me malaria. This lasted about 2 weeks, I think. I was expected to stay at the clinic that they'd set up every night, so I slept there for 2 weeks. But hey, I didn't actually get sick until the very last day. I had a slight fever, put me on the meds right away as soon as I showed symptoms, and I was fine. There were other people in that same unit who were visibly sick. They had an awful time of the trial, but I enjoyed it. I made $2,000 off of it, which I then used to fund my travel during the second year of medical school. But overall, I think this is a good option. It's pretty easy to do, doesn't require a huge amount of time, and you make a decent chunk of money. And of course, you're also helping out people who are running these studies because they do need volunteers. Finding good, reliable volunteers can be one of the most difficult things to do while running these studies. Number 3, cat sitting. This is probably one of the most fun side hustles that I did, and I started this when I moved out to Virginia during my PhD. I was very close to Washington, D.C., which is a city where there are a lot of people, like kind of transplants who are working there, who have families in other places, who are traveling a lot. So a lot of these people would leave their pets while traveling, and that's where I came in. This is probably the lowest paid position that I did. I made about $12 per half hour, $25 an hour. Maybe it's not the best paid gig that you can do, but it was a lot of fun, and it was a nice break from actually working. I got paid to go to someone's house, feed their cat, play with it, pet it for 30 minutes, and then leave. And a lot of these sessions were once a day. Sometimes I'd have to go twice a day, depending on the cat and the level of care required. By far, one of my favorite things to do. I met a lot of great cats, had a lot of really fun interactions with their owners and everything. And it's something I would highly recommend. It's a relatively stress-free way to make money. Number 4, writing blog posts about my time and experience as a medical student. And I'm not talking about this. I found a gig on Upwork, which is a website for freelancers. Got paid to write blog posts about my thoughts and experiences as a medical student. I talked about, I wrote articles about comparing medical school versus other professional schools, comparing DO programs versus MD programs, giving tips and suggestions. So I wrote a few of these articles, and this was also a really great way to take the knowledge that I had built up and use it to make money. This was pretty profitable. I made about $50 an hour, which is pretty good. And I did most of this while in my PhD program. All right, number 5. This one is probably more specific for me and other people who like making videos, but videography can be a great side hustle, especially if it's something you enjoy doing. So I've done a few videography projects. I've created, for example, I created some wedding reels, I created sports highlight videos. And if you enjoy making videos and editing videos, it's a great way to make some extra cash on the side. And I'm going to separate this out from the next side hustle because they're related but slightly different. The next one that I'm going to talk about, number 6, is related to videography, but it's using the video clips that you've taken and selling it as stock footage. So this is actually very easy to do. There's a website that I use called blackbox.global. They'll take care of a lot of the back-end stuff. So you can simply upload the videos, add the relevant metadata, and they will actually interact with the stock footage companies, the licensing companies, and take care of the licensing for you. And before you know it, if your footage obviously is like good quality and it matches needs that clients have, people will start buying your footage without you having to do much else at all. I have made a decent amount of money. Actually, most of the money that I've made has been off of one clip of a sloth hanging upside down when I was in Costa Rica. And over the past 2-3 years, I've made around $450 off of this one clip. This is just from people buying it while I go about do other stuff in the day. I'll get an email saying so-and-so, or actually I don't know who's buying it, but I'll get an email at random points. Whenever someone buys a clip, I get an email saying that your clip has been sold for X amount of money. The money can change depending on clips and like the quality that they chose to download it in, but it's a good way to make money. I think you do have to invest some time into shooting the videos, editing it, or breaking it up into small clips that can be uploaded onto a stock footage website, but I think it's pretty good. All right, so number 7, tutoring. And this one I think is pretty straightforward. Something a lot of people in my position do, a lot of graduate students, a lot of medical students do with their peers. What I did was I didn't work as a tutor at the school. I think one of the services that I use is called Wizant or Wizant. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I set up some tutoring sessions there. This is nice because similar to the APass educational work, I was able to actually all the work that I've done. I was able to create able to set up these sessions at my own time, at my own rate. I think the market is actually quite competitive, and it was hard to get some of these gigs. The other thing is when you're tutoring, it's a lot of it depends, right? Like I think with the other work that I did, I was in full control of like how long those things took, right? But I felt like with tutoring, every session is a bit different and every person is a bit different to figure out their learning style and all that. So I did it here and there. I don't think it was the best fit for me personally. All right, so that's pretty much it as far as side hustles go. So I'm gonna drop some of the resources that I used to find these side hustles in the caption below. So definitely check that out. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more, definitely hit that like button and subscribe. If you have other questions or anything else, any ideas for content that you'd like me to talk about in future video, leave that in the comments and I'll try to make a video. I'll try to respond to that, or I'll try to make a video about it soon. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll tune in next time.